What if I told you that in just a few short years, almost every single job you can think of might just disappear? It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's a very real prediction from one of the world's top experts on AI safety. So let's dig into his argument and see exactly how he thinks this could all play out. So this is the number that just stops you in your tracks. 99%. That's the potential unemployment rate Dr. Roman Yampolsky says we could be looking at. I mean, not 10%, not 20, 99. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, but believe it or not, he has a pretty clear timeline for how we could get there. Okay, so who is Dr. Yampolsky? Why should we listen to him? Well, he's a computer science professor, a leading voice on artificial intelligence, and get this, he's the person who actually coined the term AI safety more than 15 years ago, way, way before it became this huge global conversation. So when someone with that kind of foresight makes a prediction this big, you know it's built on years of serious research. All right, so let's unpack how a shock of this magnitude could actually happen. We're not talking about just one or two industries getting disrupted here. No, this is about the entire idea of a job being fundamentally rewritten. So here's the timeline he lays out. He predicts that the capability for artificial general intelligence, that's AGI, could be here as soon as 2027. Then, just a few years later, by 2030, humanoid robots get so advanced they can automate most physical jobs. We're talking plumbers, electricians, you name it. And then, by 2045, we could hit something called the singularity, which is basically the point where AI is improving so fast, we literally can't even guess what's going to happen next. You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down to basic economics. Think about it. Why would a company hire a human who needs a salary and benefits and vacation and has to sleep when they could just use an AI drop-in employee? I mean, it's a system that can work 24/7, it learns anything instantly, and it might be as cheap as a monthly subscription. From a pure dollars and cents perspective, hiring a person for most roles just wouldn't make any sense at all. And this points to a massive fundamental shift. You see, throughout all of human history, whenever a machine automated a job, people could just retrain for something new. But Yampolsky argues that this time is completely different. AI isn't just a machine, it's an intelligent worker. It's already automating brand new jobs, like prompt engineer, almost as fast as we can invent them. So for the first time ever, there might be no next job to train for. And that brings us to the absolute core of the problem. You see, an AI that's powerful enough to wipe out 99% of jobs isn't just a better tool. It's an intelligence so far beyond ours that it might be fundamentally uncontrollable. That's the underlying risk that's driving every one of these predictions. The ultimate goal for a lot of these big AI labs is to create what's called a superintelligence. Now, this isn't just an AI that's good at one thing, like playing chess. No, this is a theoretical system that would be smarter than every human combined in every single domain. Think science, engineering, art, social skills, everything. And right here, this is the heart of the danger. While what AI can do is shooting up exponentially, our ability to actually control these systems, AI safety, is only growing in a straight line, if it's growing at all. And that creates this massive, terrifying gap between its power and our control. Yampolsky uses this perfect analogy. He says our attempts at AI safety right now are like writing an HR manual for a super genius. You can write rules like, don't do this, or don't say that, but a truly intelligent system, just like a really clever person, will always, always find a loophole. We're just applying surface-level patches to a problem that's incredibly deep. So you have to ask, why are these companies racing ahead even with these insane risks? Well, it really comes down to a fundamental conflict of interest. The legal obligation for these companies is to maximize profit for their investors. Their safety plan, a lot of the time, seems to be, we'll figure it out later. Yampolsky argues that this entire approach is putting financial growth ahead of the moral duty to, make sure humanity actually survives. So if this is the path we're on, where does it all lead? What does a world after work actually look like? If 99% of us are unemployed, who are we? What do we even do all day? Dr. Yampolsky breaks down what happens next into two distinct problems. The first one is what he calls the easy problem, and that's economics. With so much wealth being generated by automated systems, giving everyone a universal basic income is actually pretty doable. But then there's the hard problem, and that's meaning. For literally centuries, our jobs have given us our identity, our purpose, a reason to get up in the morning. What happens when all of that is just gone? And that really leads to the most important question for every single one of us. I mean, if your career, your profession is no longer how you define yourself or how you contribute, where do you get your sense of dignity, your self-worth?
Because if we can't answer that question, the potential consequences are just, well, they're staggering. A society-wide loss of meaning could lead to social structures just breaking down. What would happen to crime rates? How would our communities even function? He warns that our governments are nowhere near prepared for this, and the sheer psychological weight of endless unstructured free time could be absolutely crushing for billions of people.
Now, when you take that possibility of societal collapse and you push it to its absolute logical extreme, you end up in the final, most mind-bending part of this prediction. A future that is so different, it might be totally beyond our ability to even imagine it.
Jan Pawlowski has this brilliant analogy to explain why we can't possibly predict what a superintelligence would do. He says it's like his French bulldog trying to understand why he's recording a podcast. The very concept is just completely outside the dog's model of reality. The gap in intelligence is just too wide to cross.
And that point of total unpredictability, that's the singularity. It's like a technological event horizon. In space, we can kind of see up to the edge of it, but we have absolutely no way of knowing what's on the other side, because the very thing driving the change would be operating on a level of intelligence that our brains just can't model. So where does all of this leave us? Well, it all leads to one final, completely startling question that reframes this entire discussion not as a prediction about our future, but as a question about our present. And here it is, the final provocative thought. Jan Pawlowski argues that if any civilization ever develops the technology to create virtual realities as real as our own, and that tech becomes cheap and easy to use, then they won't run just one simulation. They'll run billions of them. And if that's true, what are the odds that we just happen to be in the one, single, original, base reality, compared to being in one of those billions of simulations? The question then isn't just about what AI will do to our future. It's about the very nature of our reality, right here, right now.